Aries, this is your tarot reading for May. I've been looking at the cards, not just for you, but for everyone that's coming out, and there's themes that I can see. I think overall May is one of, maybe things aren't quite what they seem, of things that are a little bit unusual, bit bedding down, of things being revealed to us rather slowly. And I think yours is no exception. I think actually it's a good spread. I think it's a very good spread. But there are some pitfalls in here. So I think, like everybody, May is what you make of it. You look at the central card. Is that a 7? I think it's a 7. Seven of Wands. Scoring some victories. These are battles, not wars. But perhaps making enemies in doing so. Like many of us, you look to the past as a golden age when you were blessed with everything, when the sun shone down on you, when people could see it shining down on you. Now you're much more determined about things, brave. There's a pace to things. Maybe you're looking for answers to things, looking for solutions, but you are in danger of running off with the wrong one. And that does feel like the readings I've done so far for May. I think you're going to emerge out of it really well, though, because we have this gorgeous card, the 9 of Cups. I mean, it's joyous, isn't it, this rendering? So it is a sort of, your cup runneth over with joy in the future. So May is just something to get through, you know. I think you are going to get through it, and you are going to emerge with this joy. We have this continuing theme here of maybe you're searching for knowledge, searching for information. And I think you reach it, you do it very wisely. You know what you're doing, you know what you're looking for. Almost you've been there before. Now I do say there's a potential pitfall, and there is, and that's to sink into depression. And if you look at the rendering of this, you know, does this come after? And it doesn't in terms of the tarot, but you know, if it were to come after that joyous card, the 9 of Cups, then you'd say, well, you know, he's entered into a bar, you know, with great welcoming, and now he's in despair of having drunk too much. But no, it comes before, and this is something that you just have to watch for. If you allow the knowledge rather than the depression to lead you, then it is going to lead you to planning things, action planning, you know, action planning, something quite radical, something quite different, and maybe even overseas travel. It looks fascinating, Aries. Let's get into it. I must remind myself that the overall theme running through this is of you scoring some victories. As I say, maybe making people jealous in getting there. And I think to a certain degree, some of us are beginning to learn that this comes with the territory. That actually, if we are going to make progress in life, we can't please everybody. And maybe this month is about you coming to terms with it. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, that does feel right to me. Not allowing others' reaction to you to upset you. You know, at the end of Ramadan, we call it Lebaran here in Indonesia. The family, the eldest sister, the eldest daughter didn't come with us, but as a family, we went out and we went to a bar that was an expat bar. There was some British people there that I didn't know, you know, I don't know any expats now, really. But we went to this bar, and they were sitting next to us, and there was an Irishman who kept giving, he kept saying every time I went to the toilet that he wanted to sleep with my wife. And my wife is very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but in the end he gave her his card, which of course she threw away, you know. But I don't know about you, it's beyond me that people could behave like that. Now, he clearly wanted it just to mess up my life. But the recognition that there's such nasty, horrible people in the world can be a little bit distressing. And I think it's something like that that's going on with you, you know, having to come to terms with these things. And Aries, I think like most of us, you look towards the past as a better time. Now this is the recent past. And I think it might simply have been just how you were feeling about things, and you do regain this sort of feeling. But it's a feeling that you were blessed, a feeling like the sun shone on your back and you could feel the warmth of it and others could see it. You know, there's all sorts of things going on in the world that are conspiring to make our lives more difficult, less happy. I'm just about to start drawing my pension. And, you know, I've run into, well, I suppose the bureaucratic equivalent of going for a long wait in the warehouse. You know, I've had all sorts of difficulties so far. But I think the main one is going to be Royal Bank of Scotland, was it 2 years ago, closed my UK bank account. And I'm beginning to realise that the implications of it in terms of pensions, etc., is probably going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars. You know, now that one action, which I couldn't do anything about, is going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars. And we're all being subjected to things like this on a regular basis now, which is making all of our lives that little bit less easy, that little bit less affluent. You know, and it is affecting all of us, isn't it? And I think my illustration was quite a good one, because now you're battling somewhat. You're brave, you're fearless, but you know, you're battling. I think you're searching for information. I think that's what the real battle is. You're searching to understand what's going on, you know. If I could understand why RBS decided to close my bank account, you know. It's not like that I've ever courted with right-wing politics or anything of the sort. I've no idea why my bank account's been closed, but as I say, it's going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars. And a lot of anguish, and you know, things are so much more difficult for me as a result. And you know, it isn't. There was nothing wrong with my bank, nothing wrong with my account, nothing wrong. You know, there was no reason for doing it. So I can't see it. So we're all searching for information, and I think you are as well. You are, perhaps there is a tendency to jump to the wrong conclusions, just as maybe I am about it being politically motivated in some way. Now, as I say, I think it is quite a positive reading, because we end up nearly back to how it was in the past. Multiple blessings, you know, feeling good about yourself, feeling positive, feeling strong. So it's almost like you've got to get hold of this information, absorb it, not allow it to deflect you, and then you come out of it feeling positive again. And in feeling positive, you will attract good fortune. So, you know, I think it's quite I know it's a good month. It's just that it's got little niggles in it, you know. I know everything's going to be all right with me, but, you know, it's you know, like trying to claim a pension. Oh, we've got to have a wet signature. Well, I'm not allowed to use the post office for some reason in Indonesia. So, I can only send things by couriering them at a cost of $100. But fortunately, they accepted, a photo of my signature. But the form that I was sent was in Word format, but it was using European A4 printing. So when I printed it out, it cut off the bottom. It was insignificant what it cut off. It wasn't a signature or anything like that. But, nobody had realised here what had happened. It took me some hours to recognise what the problem was and reformat, And we lost a week in doing so, And it's those sort of niggles that I think are going to happen to you this month. Now I think you're looking for information, looking for answers. And I do believe you find it. I do believe it comes to you. It comes to you because you've got experience. You've been here before. You know what you're doing to a certain... You're a clever person. You know what you're doing, Aries. And it does come to you, the information you need. And as a result of that, you'll know what you need to do. So all the stuff is here for you to get what you want. It's just for you not to be deflected. And what do I mean by being deflected? Well, I think going into a depression. I think there's so many things surrounding you that could make you depressed. But if you just hang on to your goal, just keep saying, okay, what's going on? Keep my spirits high, you'll be fine. But don't let this depression take over you. I started applying for my pensions about 6-7 weeks ago. My state pension I can't even do until the beginning of May, in fact. Can't even do it yet. But I know that once I start doing it in May, it'll never be ready for when I'm of pension age. I know they won't be able to do it on time. And, the fact that I've spent 7 weeks so far on other pensions and I've got nowhere so far, nowhere at all. You could get depressed, couldn't you? But, if you just say, well, that's life, that's how it is, there's nothing I can do about it. Keep on. Just keep on. Don't let it get to you. And that's how you've got to be, Aries. Remember, I said the information you're looking for is going to come to you. And when you get that information, you're going to feel like you need to do something with it. You're going to start planning something quite radical, maybe something overseas. Now, I don't know what this information actually is, but it's out there and you are going to find it. And I don't think it matters what it is. You'll know. But when you get it, you do feel, oh yeah, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, When I found out the problems with RBS closing and, about my banks, it seems likely that what I'm going to have to do is take all the money in one chunk and move it straight to Indonesia rather than get a monthly pension. But looking on the bright side, it means I could buy a new house, and you'd buy a different house. So, there's a silver lining in everything. So it's got me planning on different things. But, hey, it's something like that for you. Well, we don't really know why you're depressed, do we? So let's see if we can find it out. First card, Eight of Swords, self-imposed restrictions. Remembering all my stories about pensions and that. Yeah. The next one, the Hermit, going inside yourself and looking for answers. Maybe you're not liking what you find. Maybe that's it. Final card, the Queen of Swords. Strong, firm but fair. Somebody who sets appropriate boundaries. Not sure of this. Oh, I see. Yeah, let's look at each individually. So what's making you depressed is self-imposed restrictions. So you're restricting what you do, probably for fear of doing it, but really these are self-imposed. You needn't have those in place. So you're getting depressed about the fact that you're feeling restricted, but it's you who's restricting yourself. Now, to a certain degree, I completely understand that. Well, I've been in Indonesia now 12 years, and effectively during those 12, well, I've not worked or earned any money to speak of in those 12 years because I'm not allowed to by the Indonesian government. But I went out the other night, as I say, I met a lot of British expats there, and they were all working in some shape or form, and they'd all found different ways around it. And I was thinking, well, God, why have you imposed these restrictions on yourself? But to a certain degree, you wouldn't meet expats who are in my position, because those who are in my position have all run out of money and gone home. So, I don't think I've got anything wrong. I just met a group of people who'd managed to navigate round things. But maybe I could have done better in navigating. I don't know. But these are restrictions that you put on yourself. The other thing that's making you depressed is you've sort of gone inside your head looking for answers. And I think, like me, you've overthought things. Like me overthinking about, being unable to work in Indonesia, being unable to earn money, I mean, better off trying to earn the money, and then when you've got it, trying to sort it out, because you'll never sort it out before you do. And it's probably the same with my pensions, worrying about, can I do this, can I do that? Yeah, you're going to get knockbacks, you're going to get all sorts of happens. But only once you've got a clear picture can you then start properly worrying, can't you? And I think that's what you've been doing. So, I think there's a big warning here not to let things get to you, basically. And I think the other thing that's making you a little depressed is the realisation that you do have to set boundaries with people. Remember my story about the man who gave my wife his card, I mean, there's nothing I could have done about that, but, well, we will never bump into him again. But it's almost identical to what happened only 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. When we were on holiday in Bangkok, a man from Kuwait did almost exactly the same thing. And, both were obvious narcissists, thinking they could take what was mine, would have great pleasure in sort of destroying my life, I mean, we never saw him again, and we'll never see this one again, and that will be the end of it. So it doesn't really matter, But we do have to have boundaries, unfortunately, in place. Because there are people who will try and destroy your life for no apparent reason, than their own enjoyment. I mean, yes, my wife is beautiful, but neither of the men we're talking about would want to marry her, or, they just want to take what is mine. It's as simple as that. And I think as you're beginning to understand that, it depresses you, but there's a very big warning here from the universe not to let it depress you. Aries, this month of May is going to be a good month for you, but there's a few potential pitfalls. And the universe is just warning about them. Overall, you're scoring victories, but in doing so, you do make people jealous. And I think it's that making people jealous and the realisation that you need to set appropriate boundaries that could lead to you being depressed, could lead to you self-restricting yourself, could lead to you going inside yourself and saying, why are people so nasty? And that could knock you off course. Certainly in the past, it felt like things were great. The sun was shining down on your back. You felt wonderful. But now, I think things are a little bit more serious. You've got the bit between your teeth. You're bold, you're brave. You need to do something. You're searching for answers, and you do find them. But you are prone to running off with the wrong idea. I don't think you do for 1 minute, and I think you're going to emerge from this with a very strong plan of action, something very different. You're going to be looking at something quite radical that you're going to do that maybe you wouldn't have thought of had there not been these challenges. And you're going to feel, once again, very blessed and very happy. So like how it had been in the past, you've just got to go through a few challenges this month. But I think you're going to emerge out of it a much more knowledgeable, much better person, and happy that you've got there.